Welcome everybody. We are very proud to have you for this webinar dedicated to geotechnics, and I will open the presentation session and to give you an overview of what we are doing in BRGM regarding topics of geotechnics, BIM, and digital twin. So for people that do not know what is BRGM, so it is Bureau de Recherche Géologique et Minière. And so we are the French Geological survey with more than 1,000 people. 80% of us are in Orléans. And as you can see on the left, we are addressing multiple domains and of course managing a lot of state data in order to do activity. So our main missions are here, scientific research, support to public policy development, international cooperation, mine safety training, so classical activities of geological survey. So when it comes to speak about BIM and of course status in France, so regarding building information modeling, so you must be very familiar to this kind of picture we have on the right. That is the life cycle of a building or a construction. So the main idea of building information modeling is a better management of data in order to target a digital twin of the construction. So that's something that is quite widespread in building construction, and it's becoming more and more present for infrastructure such as a road, rail, bridge, tunnel, earthworks, and geotechnics. So in that domain, France is among the leaders in BIM. So BIM is not mandatory in France, yet a lot of projects rely on it. This is something that is supported by the French ministry. We have something called the PTNB, or Building Digital Transition Plan, and the Plan BIM 2022. And also, I would like to point out that France is very active in the definition of open standards for BIM. It's called Open BIM, especially for the infrastructure. So the MINE project must be cited as it federates constructors, engineering companies, research organizations, and owners on that topic. One of the main reasons was certainly that we have big infrastructure projects in France, especially in the domain of underground infrastructure construction. So you can see, for example, several big projects such as Lyon-Turin Tunnel and also Grand Paris Express, and underground infrastructure for deep storage of radioactive waste called CGO, and a project endorsed by Andhra. So now when you try to connect BIM and geoscience, of course, it's about our civil engineers and also people from the geoscience committee can work together, and how they can collaborate. So of course, geoscience knowledge help to build in better conditions. And when you have a look to what are the questions owners and civil engineers can have, you can see that it matched quite well with the BRGM topics. So for example, geology is a base for any geotechnical model. When we are speaking about digital twin, of course, it's really related to information technologies. And when you think about building sustainably, you must take care of geohazards, also the hydrogeology, water resource management, also energy transition, and possibly the reuse excavation. So regarding the topics that geotechnics and BIM have in common, you can see that match quite well activities of geological survey like BRGM. So the question is, I imagine that there will be certainly more systematic implication of geological surveys in construction projects. So that's something that is already happening. So in 2020, for a previous webinar of the Urban Geology Expert Group, we already made a kind of overview of activities around urban geoscience. So one of our products was this map. And regarding activities in which BRGM was involved regarding infrastructure construction, of course, there was the Channel Tunnel, but also the Lyon-Turin Tunnel, Grand Paris Express. I will give some information about it. And also there was a project called Deep City 3D in which we try to make some kind of representation of the city subsurface and the city surface in the city of Toulouse. So regarding the collaboration with the Société du Grand Paris, so for the Grand Paris Express, that was something we made with in the BRGM. The Grand Paris Express is a huge project. You must know that in 2024, Paris and France will welcome the next Olympic Games. And so for that, there will be a lot of construction of new lines to extend the existing networks for the metro. And many tunnels have to be dig, and these are huge activities that are made. And of course, there are a lot of concerns about geology, geotechnics in that project. So the collaboration between the SGP and BRGM was about to have a better assessment of the Paris subsurface and its surroundings. So it tackles the question about geology, hydrogeology, and geotechnics, and the deliverable of that was a detailed cross-section and report. So you may ask why we don't have a 3D model that is the deliverable of that thing. But of course, when you speak about linear infrastructure, you must know that, of course, it's difficult to show, or say, produce something based on data you don't have. So most of the time, it's only something in the surrounding of the construction itself. Regarding the topics of BIM, and it's quite connected to what I just say, BIM is not only about 3D modeling. There are a lot of images of icebergs. I found them regarding what is BIM and what is BIM, but we don't talk about it so much. Of course, we think about 3D models, but it's only part of the job indeed. So a lot of things regarding BIM concerns data information, but also change of practice. And I would like also to point it out that BIM continue after the construction is finished. So in the latest picture, we can see that design and construction are only a small part of the budget that is necessary for the life cycle of the buildings. And the main part, and certainly where BIM will be very useful, is for the maintenance and the operations. Another activities that we have in France was participating to the mine project, and especially the mine geotechnics. So in the mine geotechnics subgroup, it is dedicated to the definition of standards for geotechnics at the BIM era. So that activities was led by BRGM, involving engineering companies, research organization, infrastructure owners, and constructors. So you have the name of those company or organization on the right. And the main idea was to define how should we exchange the data of geotechnical data and better express it, and also see how it can happen in your daily life in the future. So we have, of course, discussion about what are the right data models to use in order to describe those geoscience data. A lot of work regarding vocabularies, APIs to access the data, try to propose some way to have knowledge navigation enabled with linked data, as you can see on the right. And also our activities have to be pushed towards international standardization with OGC and Building Smart International. So one of the main activities that was discussed in this mine project with BRGM and also other partners was identifying and describing the geotechnical features. So you have them on the left. So some concepts you already found in other data model. And we also work on the identification of the geotechnical properties that can be associated to those geotechnical features. So lithology, geotechnical parameters, like things like that, and other vocabularies such as methods and processes. So that was huge task of, yes, structuring the data in order to expose them after that. So what is already visible as from these conceptual activities is, for example, that in the BRGM registry, so that contain vocabularies, there are already things related to the Mine Geotechnics project. So we are feeding it. We are feeding the BRGM registry in order to expose what was done in mine. And what we also have in the pipe at BRGM is a project called Open Geotech that will be part of the France Relance program, and in which we are working on defining a new consultation interface and also working on the solutions for declaring new and proposing revision vocabulary. So it will enable to have a better connection between the community and also those registries that are managed by BRGM. Other current activities are what we do in the Building Smart National IFC Tunnel project. So when we started the project, there was this idea that we will try to connect what is made in the OGC and also in BSI. So we are working on the common semantics for geotechnics objects, and those things will be implemented in IFC, and also we wanted to have them becoming part of the GeoSci standards and other geoscience standards from OGC. So that things that we are currently doing, and now in the near future, what is happening. So you may know that in 2019, we organized a workshop dedicated to geotechnical data standardization, something that was named IDB Geotech. So making the connection between OGC and Building Smart International. So that's something we will do again, and there will be new activities in it. And also, you may have heard that in the ISS MGE, there is a creation of a technical committee dedicated to the BIM and Digital Twin topics. And among those activities that will be part of this TC, there is, of course, doing the connection between OGC and Building Smart National activities in order to make some guidelines about for geotechnics. So again, as things that will be done in the near future, we are launching an activity regarding digital continuity for geotechnics at the BIM era. So the idea is to target some fair geotechnical data. So the FAIR principles enable to qualify, say, interpretable data that can be reused. And we define a program, and this will be supported by the MIND project in the Atlas program. And we plan to do the activities you have on the left from the end of 2021. So it's happening now. It will be launched in a few weeks, and with the target to have it done for 2022. So among the activities we have, there is of course some things that are already being done and currently in the move. So participating to the IFC Tunnel project, but we will also do the activity of extending the OGC standards to connect with IFC. So as you see in the picture on the right, the idea is yes, they are existing things and we will connect them in order to target this digital continuity. So the idea is you will be able to declare your data once, and you will be able to use them in both your GIS and BIM environment. Other deliverables that are scheduled, so some white papers, also technical documentation, and also implementation guide. So yes, that's all for the overview of the activities of BRGM.